Hey, what's up, YouTube? Red and Bordy here. Today we got a good one for you on Mode to Go, and we're going to start that off with Albion Online. Now, Albion Online is a game that me and Bordy, we spent a lot of time in. We have a ton of fun in there. They are bringing content after content to this game, and this next update is called Call to Arms. It is a patch that's available on March 17th, so next week. This patch will include a massive rework to faction warfare. The new system will allow factions to not only just take outposts, but now they'll be able to take regions, which is pretty exciting, Bordy. They also are adding a sixth faction called the Carleon faction. I probably butchered that. New mounts, new regions, improvements to rewards for being loyal to a faction, new faction ranks, and a month-long faction campaign. So a lot of faction changes here, Bordy. It was one of the irrelevant features that were in the game, really. It just, didn't feel like factions were that impactful, and they're aiming to change that with the Call to Arms patch. Now, Call to Arms will also bring a major update to the Hellgates system, introducing 10 new layouts, the ability to chain Hellgates, which meaning if you won a Hellgate before, I believe you'll get first dibs on the next Hellgate, and a new type of Hellgate, 10v10 Hellgates, dude. So, they already had the 2v2 and the 5v5s, and now the 10v10s, which that's a lot of loot for the winning team, looting 10 players and the actual dungeon. The last call to arms will bring tons of quality of life improvements, including loadouts, which will be cool. Ability tooltips and new animations for vegetation. So now the plant life will be active and moving around, Bordy. So these are big changes to Albion, a game that we like to spend some time in occasionally. Dude, I have always felt like Albion is one of the better MMOs out right now, just because of the systems in place, the black zone, the black market. It's just a really cool game.
Dude, it is. Albion Online is like it's kind of a gym, man. It's kind of a gym for the hardcore PvP players for sure, because it's full loot PvP. It's an awesome game, man. It really is. It's a lot of fun, and the Hellgates is one of the unique things about Albion that I absolutely loved whenever we were playing the game. It was so much fun, and to see them bring in something like 10v10 Hellgates, bro, that's incredible. They keep crushing it over there with Albion, man, and it's I think it has a bright future.
They really do, and it's just. It's exciting to see the fact that they're not straying away from their core. I think a lot of MMOs in development or as they're progressing, they try to appeal to everybody, and Albion doesn't try to do that. And I really think that's awesome, because I do feel like they have a really solid player base because of it.
They do. It's a popular game, and you're right. They seem to be laser focused on what their vision is for the game, and they just hammer down on it. I mean, they double down on it every patch, and the game's getting better and better, man. It really is a good MMO. If you haven't played, you guys should definitely go try it. It's a lot of fun.
Free to play.
Absolutely,
sub with benefits, but I played in the free to play zone through most of my time in there, and had a great time.
Yeah, it's really cool.
All right, Bordy, take it away.
All right, man. So next on the docket, we have Mortal Online 2. So this is a game that's pretty near and dear to my heart, man. I played a lot of Mortal Online, the first one. It's a very niche game, but again, this is a hardcore, or not a survival. It's just a hardcore PvP MMO. It's full loot. So it caters to that market, and I happen to be in that market. I love it. Mortal Online was amazing, and the reason I like Mortal Online so much is because it's almost like it feels a lot like a modern day Ultima Online. They took a lot of the systems from Ultima Online, incorporated them into Mortal Online, and made a pretty awesome game. But the problem with Mortal, there were a lot of problems with the first Mortal Online, but the devs have said they've learned from those problems, so now they're releasing Mortal Online 2. So for those of you that don't know, Mortal Online 2 is a first-person sandbox MMORPG set in a fantasy world. Players are never fully free from danger. There's no specific PvP or safe zone, so everything is free game in Mortal Online. It's a very hardcore PvP game. It's awesome. It's only an open, realistic world where you're free to choose your own path. Experience true real-time combat, which is another awesome thing. It has action-based combat. It's really fun. Where outcomes are decided by skill rather than levels of gear. You can build a house, create a guild, construct a keep, forge an entire empire with enough power, violence, or diplomacy. I like how they do violence in there. You and your allies may rule an entire nation. So it says right here that Mortal Online caters to players of of all shapes and play styles. You can be a legendary crafter, which the first one had a pretty interesting crafting system in it too. So I'm really interested to see how they implement it in Mortal Online 2. And then it says there's a good trading system. You can trade your goods across the globe. Study the art of combat, become a famous warrior, explore areas never been seen by others. So you get the gist. Mortal Online 2 is coming out soon. But here's the news part that we wanted to talk about. There's a few pieces of news. So as of the release of this video, you guys will be watching this on the 12th. This will drop tomorrow morning. We're recording this on the 11th. The drop on the 12th at 8 o'clock a.m. And then later on in the day, the CEO, Henrik Nystrom, I think I'm butchering his last name, but he is going to be hosting a Q&A live on Twitch on March 12th. It's going to be at 17 UTC, which I think is 11 o'clock a.m. our time, CST, Central Time, I think, maybe. I think I got that right. Anyway, it's 17 UTC. I don't know what the time zone that is, to be honest. But then there's also going to be a Discord FAQ. But here is even the better news. There's a stress test pre-patch coming up March the 18th to the 22nd. Hey. It's going to be one of the final patches prior to the stress test to ensure all systems are functioning correctly. And they're going to need players' help with the following. Testing mounts, the Haven, character development progression, improved chat, and VoIP. There's VoIP in the game. Server optimizations, queue systems, testing some of the towns. Tindrum, which was a throwback to Mortal Online. The first one, Tindrum, was in that too. More points of interest, improved character customization, and a whole lot more there that they're wanting people to get in and test. So Mortal Online is pushing to go into a persistent state in March of this month, man. This month, they're wanting to go into persistent state. I don't think the game's officially releasing. I think it'll still kind of be in a development phase, but they're wanting to push to a persistent state so characters aren't wiped, etc. So you can buy the game now for, I think, $39 on their website is the lower package, and you get access to Mortal. It is a subscription-based game, but I do think in the first one, I believe they had a system where you could play for a little while, but your skills were capped at a certain point, so you just couldn't progress past a certain point unless you paid the sub. I don't know if they're implementing that into Mortal Online 2 or not, but for $39, I think you can get access now and play the game. I'm interested. I'll probably check it out. I really like the first project, and if nothing else, just to pay my $39 to support the development of the second one, because it is a unique game. It's fun. I liked it a lot, but if you're not into the hardcore full loot PvP scene, this game probably wouldn't be your jam. But yeah, it's the news on Mortal Online 2, man. There's a lot of things going on over there, and it's hopefully pushing into a persistent state very soon.
Yeah, I've always been interested in following this new project. You talk a lot about Mortal Online and how good it was, or how much you enjoyed it, obviously, and it's always piqued my interest. And Mortal Online 2 looks to be an improvement to that. So I'll probably hop in there with you, Bordy.
Well, let's not get it twisted, man. Mortal Online, I wouldn't say it was great. It was niche. I had fun in there PvPing, and there were fun aspects. It had some issues for sure. So let's hope that Mortal Online 2 has those worked out. But I think it has promise for sure.
Okay, all right. We'll leave it at that. All right. So the next game we got on the docket today is Dauntless. Now, we've spoken about Dauntless before on the show. It is a very similar game to Monster Hunter. It is a free-to-play model, basically, of a Monster Hunter, which I think is buy-to-play at this point. Now, Dauntless is coming out with a new patch, and this will be quick because the main change that they're having is there will now be private hunting grounds. So now you will be able to start up a hunting ground, and the only people that will be able to be present in that hunting ground or that instance content would be you or your party. So now, this is a big change for the game. Obviously, it is centered around like a hub-based MMO. And so now they are having these private hubs that, you and your group will be able to farm monsters or gear reliably, because there'll be no other competing factions or groups in these zones. So that's a pretty cool change, maybe. I don't know how, I've never played Dauntless really, but I wonder how much the gear affects like other as an MMO, I wonder how much the gear actually affects the playing of other players. I don't know if it makes it easier to gain gear or not. But this,
I'm not sure either. I haven't ever played it either.
So it'll be interesting to see how players kind of receive this patch. Another quick thing that they're going to add, obviously, some new quick quality of life improvements. for gameplay, audio, and UI issues. I've always been interested in this game, Bordy. I've never played Monster Hunter either, admittedly, but this seemed like a more accessible version because there was no sticker price to initially play. I got through the tutorial, but these games kind of intrigue me because I really like the hub-based form of an MMO, just from the simple fact that, you know, they're usually free to play, easy to try out, easily accessible, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we talked about Dauntless a couple of episodes ago on Mo to Go, and we were talking about trying it back then, and I still want to try it, man. It does look like a lot of fun. I think that's something you and I should do at some point soon, man.
If we get time, then yeah, that'd be great.
True that.
But yeah, you know, private servers are at least essentially private hunts, which I believe are you know, your core activity in the game. So we'll see how that affects the meta, or if there is one in the game with the MMO version.
Yeah.
All right, Bordy, take her away with...
Yeah, we're going to wrap this thing up with Legion Eternal War. So I wanted to put this in the episode today just to kind of, I guess, help bring awareness to the game for people that are maybe like following the progression of development of a game, or you know, are interested in this type of game. There is another one on the horizon. This is an MMO, kind of a sandbox MMO ish. It's called Legion Eternal War, and they just recently opened up a crowdfunding campaign on their website, so you can now back the game if you choose. They released a 10-minute backer video for the game. So the game's not even an alpha yet. I don't think that you can play it, or it's in any kind of playable state, but it's something that you can kind of watch, follow along with as they develop the game, as there's so many other MMOs out there going on at the same time right now. There's a ton of them in development, but this one looks pretty interesting because it is skill-based combat. The progression is much like that of like New World or Albion, where you pick up a weapon or a piece of gear or whatever, you use it, and you become better at using that particular item or that particular craft or that particular gathering tool or whatever. So the progression is just a pick it up, use it, you get better at it type of progression. It also has skill-based or action-based combat that looks pretty neat. It does have PvP. It's going to be like a humans versus elves type of thing, but you can also decide to play as a criminal and kill players of your own faction, and they are doing a percent loot PvP. So that means that you always keep your equipment, but you have a small percentage chance to lose materials from your inventory on death. So there is kind of a risk reward element there for PvP, so it sounds kind of fun. The PvE, there's gonna be quests and dungeons in the game, and then it says you can expect private instances, meaningful storyline, and huge amounts of player progression and customization. So the game looks pretty good. Watching the video, it looks okay. I probably am not gonna back it, if I'm being perfectly honest. I just wanted to throw this out there for people who may be interested in backing it or interested in trying this out, or at least following along with it. But you can buy packages starting at $25 on their website to help the progression of the game or the development of the game. So there's like a $25 package, a $50 package, a $75 package. I think it goes all the way up to like $500. Yeah, no, I don't think there's I don't see any of those listed. I think the highest pack is $500. Like, you know, like it's kind of typical for these crowdfunded type of games. It kind of has the same typical tier style, but it looks very interesting, man. This looks like something that I would enjoy. It looks like something that would be up my alley and something I would want to play. But you know, we got to be honest. There's so many MMOs that are in development and so many games that are crowdfunded these days. As a consumer, now I almost think we're kind of, it's harder, I think, now to get people to back your game than it was before, because people have been burned so many times that people get real leery about it. So that's kind of why I nothing against the game. It looks really cool. I get leery about backing these games and having to wait for, you know, 5 or 6 years for it to come out. So who knows? This one looks like it's fairly close. The gameplay footage they've shown looks okay. It looks interesting. There's a lot of really cool elements to the game. They're talking about having some dynamic aspects to the game. So yeah, that's one to follow along with if you're interested in it. It's an MMO called Legion: The Eternal War. Yeah, go check it out, man.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's interesting, Bordy, about a lot of these MMOs that are in development too. You're kind of, you know, like you said, you're kind of leery because a lot of these games don't make it out at all. And then when you're talking about investing your hard-earned money for, you know, what games you want to play or what you spend your time on, it's almost like if you're unsure, it's better to wait and see. Kind of make sure that, you know, when the game does get through its 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years of development, it is still the game that they said it's going to be. It is still the game that you want it to be. You know, because you can always pay for the game and play it when it comes out, but once you back it, I mean, you're kind of stuck with that. And I know a lot of people are, you know, have a limited budget to game on, and backing games that are that early in development are not usually the best of plans if you're wanting to get return on investment quickly.
Yeah, I would agree for sure. Legion has been in development for almost 3 years, they say. So hopefully the game is going to be fairly close to a playable state, at least. Right now, it's not in a playable state. But the news comes, the reason this is on the show is because they just recently announced this crowdfunding campaign. Like, this game has been in development for a while, but they just, I think within like the past few days, they announced this crowdfunding campaign that they have going on. So it's very new. So up until this point, you could not back this game, to my understanding. So yeah, it looks interesting, man. And I know there's a lot of people out there that really enjoy kind of following the development process of these MMOs, and I'm one of them. I like watching, like checking up on an MMO every now and then and seeing what it's like. So this might be one that, yeah, you know, some people might be interested in.
Who knows, dude? It could blow us away. It could be the next big thing. We don't know. Yeah, but you guys definitely, you know, check it out. We'll have a link in the description, you know, for any trailer or whatever, or even the website potentially. Yeah. And yeah, guys, that's it for Mo to Go. It's been fun with you guys. Don't forget to hit the subscription button, the notification bell, for more content like this. We do Mo to Go every Friday on the channel, and we put up videos Monday through Friday every day at 8 a.m. So if you're into multiplayer online role-playing games like these, you should definitely hit that sub button, because we bring the content for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on another episode next Friday of Mo to Go.